Hey everyone, it's good to have you guys join another episode of the Basin podcast.
The Basin,
Yeah, it's always excited that there's a lot of topics to cover, so it's always
Yeah.
good to get together and just, most importantly, is not just doing this because we want to talk,
Yeah.
but getting to do this with you and
Yeah,
talk about
fun.
just real life as well. But one of the biggest things I for a while that I have to figure out is, we being a parent, right? So growing up, there were certain things like you understand what a man's supposed to do. This is a man's job. This is a woman's job, and God blessed us with wonderful kids. And there's certain things that as a man you have to start thinking, okay, how can I, in addition to being a provider, how can I be a father? How can I be a good father? How can I be a good parent?
Yeah.
And there's certain things that our parents did not do that we had to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like me taking care of our kids. And at times I'm cleaning diapers and, because our kids when they were still young and they're getting older now. And at times I'm like, what the heck am I doing? There's always a feeling like, why am I doing this? What's the point of doing this?
Yeah.
My dad never did this. Men, growing up, men were men, like the woman. But then at the same time, I'm always like, if I approach life that way, because we don't have a lot of people around, we don't have the support system, we have each other.
Yeah.
So if all my focus is, I want to be the guy, the provider, whatever, and then you should be doing every single thing. Take care of the kids, clean the house, do every single thing while you're still working as well. And at some point, it sounds very unfair.
It is.
But there's an aspect of like, you want to be compassionate, you want to be caring, you want to be a loving man. But there's also an aspect of an ego bruise. Yeah, your ego as a man is being bruised because I don't think you're cleaning diapers and you feel like, yes, I'm manly. No, I don't think you're getting like affirmation by doing those things, but you're doing those things because of the care and compassion and love for your wife and for your family.
But I feel like the reason why you would struggle with that is because you never saw a man did that when you were growing up. You never had an example to follow to know that it's okay for a man to clean diapers. It's okay for a man to do dishes or cook.
I did a lot of dishes.
No.
I never had a problem with dishes.
You never had a problem with dishes because you grew up doing that.
Yeah.
The one thing you never saw your family do, any man in your family do, is the one thing you're doing, which is cleaning diapers. If you did see your father do that, or if you saw like older men, uncles doing that, you would not feel like it's weird, right? I do think part of the reason why you struggled with that, thankfully, I don't know if you still struggle with that because you've been doing that and I want you to continue to help in that.
Yeah.
But if you did see an example to follow, you wouldn't feel this way. I think that's part of it.
And there's an aspect of struggling. Struggling does not eliminate that you still do certain things. And there will always be something you struggle for. Like even if you grow up seeing your parents do it and it's your natural affinity, there will be other areas that you've seen as this is a man's role and woman's role.
There will be other areas, but this particular area is the one area you never saw. That's what I was trying to hear.
Yeah, but that's where we drive in, I guess, emphasize the aspect of compassion and care.
Yeah.
Because as much as you struggle, is what overrides what? Is it you trying to prove your masculinity?
Yeah.
Or you caring and being compassionate and making sure that your family is emotionally healthy?
Absolutely.
And that's where the compassion and care comes in.
Yeah.
Irrespective of how I feel or what you struggle with.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we have to do.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we need to do.
That's true.
But also it takes both sides too.
Yeah.
I also think it's good for the woman to acknowledge that, hey, my husband is doing this.
Absolutely.
It's not a natural affinity, but don't come in and say, that's what you're supposed to do. Don't have an entitlement spirit. And when there's an entitlement in a marriage and the woman thinks, hey, maybe he needs to do more, then there's a level of you're diminishing the man.
A lot of times, men and women in relationships,
Yeah.
they treat each other as though it's me against him and him against her.
Yeah.
I think that right there is the problem. If you go into marriage, or if you go into your relationship knowing that we are in this together, it changes everything. And I think the kind of person that I want to be in this marriage is to know that we're in this together. What does that look like? It means that I choose to help my husband financially the best way that I can. Even if I were a stay-at-home mom, I will find things to do with my hands to help you financially. It also means that the man helps around the house as well, because this is not just the woman's house, it's the man and the woman.
Yes.
We are building a family. It means that the man helps with the kids.
Yeah.
Right? So we're in this together. I love someone else. I think we've talked about this before. It's not 50-50. It's 100-100. You bring your 100% self into this home, and I bring my 100% self. What does that look like for me practically? I'm trying to get somewhere. Like, it's always good for us to reference the good things the generation before us did and
they've
have done well and thank them for those good things. But at the same time, we need to throw away the bad things that they did not do so well. Because one thing I like to tell my kids, like even our kids right now, the one who understands, I'm like, I'm not perfect. I made a mistake. So I say sorry. Our generation before us, parents didn't apologize. That was a scar for us. You know, we never seen my parents say, you know what? When I hit you that time, that was me being emotional. I'm sorry I hit you. That was a mistake.
Yeah.
Or when I yelled at you without listening to what you had to say, that was a mistake. I apologize. Or when I called you this word, I shouldn't have called you that word. So for me, as a new parent, parenting is an on-the-job training. We are all learning, right? I feel like our job is to throw away the bad and keep the good. I think the generation before us, men did great. They were providers, financial providers, but they were not providers emotionally.
They were not emotionally present.
They were not present. And two, they were not present physically in the home. They leave the house early, come back late at night. In that 12 hours spent, life has happened. And you're not involved in the life. And then you want to come in and say, oh, what's happening? Things are crazy. So I think I love that there's a shift in our generation, especially with you. You're a hands-on dad. It doesn't mean that you are less of a man by being hands-on.
Yeah.
From my perspective, and even talking to other women, I feel like you are more of a man right now because you are physically present, you are providing physically, you're providing emotionally, you are providing financially, you are a well-rounded man.
Yeah.
And evenly spiritually. You're speaking the word of God to your children.
You're praying over them.
You're praying over them. You're helping to put them to bed. You're saying, I love you. So I feel like we should thank our parents for the great things they did to bring us to who we are today, right? They're a blessing, not to put them down, but to say thank you for the good, but I'll also drop the bad.
Yeah.
You know? It's not like you're bashing your generation before, but you're like, and I'm hoping that our kids after us, we look like my parents did this great, but some things that were not that good. We're not perfect. I'm not trying to pretend to be a perfect parent.
And I do think that people struggle with masculinity, femininity, and relationship in marriage because they're so caught up with outside noise.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about you're on the same team.
Yeah.
You bring your 100%, I bring my 100%. But how that's going to look like 100%, in practicality, does not materialize to be 100%.
It may not.
So I bring my 100%, meaning that I put all my effort to be the best man, best
Exactly,
husband.
not
and
your half self.
You bring in your 100%, being the best wife, the best one. But in terms of practicality of the things we do as well, being 100% a lot of times, there's no way to gauge 100% when it comes to practicality. Some people will be able to do more, and somehow it's the way the woman is built. Somehow they're just things you're able to multitask, and some like the guy's 100% might be 25 or might be 30%.
Yeah.
But one thing you know and you see is bringing his best, and he's doing his best, and he's growing to be a better person. And I think that's the beauty. And the outside noise is protecting your home and speaking life into your own family.
Yeah.
Because people get caught up with what's out there, what people are saying, what people
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
As a woman, speak life. We're talking about, the people in The View, the show, and somebody talking about his spare mom and speaking that over the family, calling men useless, and you're married and you have a son. So imagine being a son and hearing that.
And has a brother.
And hearing that from your mom, saying that over
so
you,
sad.
you begin to internalize those things. So protecting your home is, don't let outside noise come into your relationship.
Absolutely.
Don't let what people think. Yes, people think this way. Don't go around. A lot of men, they're always caught up with, asking too many men out there, like, oh, what does a man need to do?
This? Yeah.
But protect your home and know that the best way is, put your trust in God, put your hope in God, grow yourself as a man, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself in ways you can be the best version, because that's what is going to help you to add value.
Absolutely.
And those values is what boosts and encourages you. But while you're doing that too, speak life into your home and your family. And as a woman, be careful what you say.
Absolutely.
Don't hang out with women who are negative.
Oh my goodness.
If you're around women who are, because people carry emotions. And you don't realize when you start picking up on the emotions of others, and you start owning the emotions of others, and those emotions are not yours. Those are not your emotions. So you gotta be careful. You surround yourself. And I see a lot of women are carrying the baggage of others who are speaking from their own experiences, and they're making you feel that should be your story.
Oh my goodness! Like, as you were speaking, I feel like that was a thought, and then you just spoke out everything that was in my head. I think the media plays a huge role in how this happens, right?
But you're owning those thoughts too.
Those thoughts, like when you have a circle of women, right, who spend all their time bashing men. You've seen it in movies.
Yeah.
You spend all your time bashing men, talking about how horrible this man is, how horrible that man is, how husbands are not this, husbands are not that. You might want to, and if you're married and you want to have a successful marriage, you might want to change your circle.
You need to draw boundaries on what you guys are talking about. If you meet a nice person, excuse me, because really a lot of marriages are falling apart in our society today. But that doesn't mean you remove yourself.
No, I'm not saying.
But you draw boundaries on when you get to a conversation that is sensitive.
Exactly.
That they hold a specific toy. It's like you have people that they've gone through a certain experience and they've owned that thought, and somehow they start asserting
that all men are like this.
Inserting what they know.
Yeah.
But I do think that when people are speaking those things, we also need a stronger voice. Or people who are saying, that's not my story.
That's not true.
It was kind of something you talk about when we were, kind of part of a board. And I was sharing how I think this person was trying to push like a certain activity. And people don't realize that, hey, not every Christian cares for yoga. Not every Christian wants to participate. One thing you said to me was, you should be able to speak out and let people know that not everybody cares for yoga. Right? Be able to speak out. But I realized that people who have a different opinion that feel like minority, in the sense that minority in thought and what they have to say, they are the ones that remain silent. But what you have to say is powerful, because what you have to say might actually help another person who's trying to figure out a certain thought pattern that they've never heard before. So what I'm saying is the outside noises, the ability of you as a woman, the friends you're hanging out with, if they're people that you love and they're good people, be careful for the things that they're trying to speak into your life.
Absolutely.
And reframe the tone and say, hey, I know you're saying this, but that's not my case.
That's not exactly.
Because your word count, what you say count. And I do think what we're seeing is we have a very strong voice, and the media is part of it. The social media is part of it. That is telling people this is what a man is, this is what a woman is, this is what a man's role is.
That's not true.
But we're not hearing a countering voice that is giving a new perspective that people want to hear.
That's our voice. That's why we're here, guys. That's why we're here. We are here to provide the countering voice. And you kind of just triggered my thought, right? Where we're talking about gender roles and relationships and parenting and all that. But you just said something, right? Our society is so big on inclusion and diversity and all of that. But the core thing that is missing in society is diversity of thought.
Diversity of thought. Yeah.
Society is pushing groupthink, where everyone in your circle has to think like you, and when they don't think like you,
They have to keep
suddenly
quiet.
you have to keep quiet. And if you keep quiet, it's like, why are you not being? You don't feel accepted, or you have to now say something. We need to have more diversity of thought,
And people need to realize too
and it's
that
okay.
that people exist who do not share your thought. And it's good for people to make an assumption, go through in their place and say, I already know how these people think. And they talk in a particular way. It's kind of like being around a couple of executives where you know the way you were working, and all the men were just cursing and cursing and cursing.
And there's everyone.
And they don't realize that you as a person, you don't like people cursing.
And
you
I
don't
actually
like, you don't
spoke
like
of
swear
that.
words.
Yeah.
And you have to say, guys, can we take that outside? Knowing that your voice is important and not be silent.
Yeah.
And knowing that, okay, they're going to turn against me. What if they turn against you? But the more we talk, the more we are empowered to. Those of us that you say, hey, my relationship is not messy. My marriage is not messy. As
messy.
a parent, I have amazing kids.
I have great kids.
I can joke around,
Yeah.
the craziness of having, all these kids. It's just being a parent. But it's not from a place of anguish, not a place of
we
like,
speak life to our kids.
We have amazing
build
kids.
them up.
And we need more voices that's very strong and assertive, that is going to protect the marriage and protect just being a parent.
Protect the family. Protect the nuclear family. Protect the value of having a father and a mother. Protect that.
Yeah.
Not when struggle comes or strife comes, you succumb to the fact that media says when the going gets tough, you run. No, when the going gets tough, you buckle in and fight for your marriage. We need more voices like that to say, hey, just because this is happening doesn't mean your first option is a divorce.
Yeah.
A family needs a father and a mother.
Yeah.
And tying it back into parenting, I feel like when it comes to our young boy, because we're raising our son, right? I love the fact that I see a husband that I want my son to grow up to be like. And for me, certain things that I know that I was not easily taught for young men is I want to make sure my son knows how to cook. I want to make sure my son, even though he's not the first child, I want to make sure he grows up to lead his sisters.
To lead.
Because no matter what hierarchy you have, first, second, or third, you are a natural born, God-given leader.
And the leader comes with responsibility. You're coming and saying, your responsibility to protect your sisters.
Protect your sisters. Protect your elder sister.
Protect your elder sister. Protect your younger sister.
Yeah.
And know that you are standing in gap. You're protecting them. And
pray for them.
And that's where leadership comes in. Unfortunately, sometimes that, when people have not seen the aspect of a loving leadership, they've seen a dominating leadership.
Yeah.
So a lot of young women, or women generally, they are compelled to want to fight anything that represents some level of masculine leadership.
Yeah.
And because they translate that to hegemony, to dominancy, to somebody that wants to dominate them. And that brings a raw feeling. But the ability to come to a place and let you lead where you're a leader, let you grow into the best version of yourself.
Yes.
Let you be the best, whatever, employer, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And still know that doesn't diminish my leadership.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And helping
it makes you more of a leader.
And caring for my kids does not diminish my masculinity.
Oh my. Yeah. When you look at organizations, right, the best leaders we see are the ones who get into the weeds of things and work with people. They don't just like boss around, right? So when I bring that into the family, the best fathers, the best husbands are the ones who gets their hands dirty. They get into the weeds of things. Don't just like boss and dominate. You don't just sit down and watch and say, why is this happening? Why is it? You get into the weeds of things and you help. You're there. And when I see men that I admire, those are the kind of men I look up to.